another exciting video on Terraform for Business on my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about an important concept in Terraform called as meta arguments. As you can see on the screen, today we are going to talk about what are meta arguments in Terraform, the types of meta arguments, which is depends on for each count, provider, lifecycle, and provision. But today our main focus would be on the meta argument called as count. But before we get into the depth of count and a demo session, if you are new to my YouTube channel, do watch the playlist of DevOps tools like Terraform, Jenkins, Git. Also, I share my experience on how to clear the cloud certificates like AWS Cloud Practitioner, AWS Associate, Azure Data Fundamentals, Azure Fundamentals, and lot of other things. So do take some time, watch the playlist, and if you find it has really added a value to your skill, do not forget it to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit a like button and also hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload such video on my YouTube channel. So without much further delay, let's get into the depth of the meta argument count. So friends, before we get into a demo session, let's first understand from theoretical perspective what are meta arguments in Terraform and a meta argument count. So let's get into that. So what are meta arguments? Meta arguments in Terraform are special arguments which can be used with every resource block and modules to change the resource behavior. Don't worry, I'm going to explain you in our demo session as how these arguments change the behavior of resource. The meta arguments allows you to customize the resource behavior, define dependencies between the resources, control resource lifecycle, and associate providers with resources or the blocks. Let's get into the main content of today's video, which is count meta argument. The Terraform count meta argument simplifies the creation of multiple resource instances without having to repeat the same resource block multiple times. Don't worry, this statement you will understand in our demo session. To use the count meta argument, you need to specify the count argument within a block, which accepts the whole number value representing the number of instances you want to create. And that's what is today's video, where I'm going to explain you this statement with a demo. So without much further delay, since we have got the understanding from the theoretical perspective that what are meta arguments and how they help us to customize our resource behavior, and specifically how does the count meta arguments helps you to create the multiple resource instances. So without much further delay, let's get into the demo session in a bit. To demonstrate uh, the meta argument count, I'm going to walk through one scenario here. So you can see on the screen that I have created main.tf, and in that I have a resource block AWS instance for with the name has backend server 1, and I have defined AMI instance type is T2 micro, and the tag given to that is the backend server say 1. Now, there would be a situation where you want to create the same configuration for multiple servers. And for that, you might be writing the same code uh, again, giving them the different names as backend server 2, backend server 3. It's okay for 4, 5, 10. But there would be a situation where your manager comes and says, hey, I need the same configuration of the server to be created for 50 servers. You can't keep writing the same code again and again, and that can lead to a human error, or it would be a tedious job and the time consuming, right? So to solve that problem, that's where the Terraform has come up with the meta argument call has count. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically, after the instance type T2 micro, I'm going to type here count equals to 10. And that's where it's going to basically, when you do a Terraform plan and do a Terraform apply, it will create the 10 instances for you. And you haven't repeated the same code 10 times, right? Doesn't that sound to be interesting? But there is another catch here. If you see the tag, the name of the server of all the 10 instances is backend server 1, which we do not want. We want it to be a dynamic. Say if I've created 10 instances, it should have backend server 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. And to solve that problem, there is something called as the count index. What I'm going to do here is as type here count dot index. Okay, so when this gets execute, it will start creating the instances, or the name of the server has backend server 0, 1, 2, 3 up to the 9, because this is nothing but an array or a list where we can access those from the 0, right? But now that's what you don't want. So you are going to basically put here plus control V here plus 1. So when this gets executed, you will have your server name has backend uh, backend server 1, then you will have backend server 2, 3, and so on. So that's it will be, right? So doesn't that sounds to be quite interesting that within a few lines you are able to create the multiple instances of the same configuration with which has the same AMI ID, the instance type, and the name is dynamic. Now there would be a situation where you want this to be more dynamic, and what you can do is you can create something called as a variable called as instance name. Okay, and then I'm going to basically create a type here equals to list, and in that list I'm going to basically have the type has string. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a default value where I want this name has for IST. Okay, then I need the same server for UAT, and I need the same server configuration for the dev. All I'm going to do is now access this using sorry, using where you can do it like this. Remove double quotes and put here where dot instance name. Okay, and then I'm going to put in this as count dot index. Okay, so I've given here 3, then you want as SIT and so on. I'm not going to get into more of day 1, but I'm just giving a demo here. So let's just get with this 4 files. So when you execute this, what's going to happen here? The name of your server will be based on what you have defined as default. And remember, we are using count.index because the list has the list can be accessed from 0, 1, 2, and 3. So when this execute first time, it will take this, and the name of your server would be IST. Then it will be UAT, dev, SIT, dev1, and so on. So that's how you can build dynamically. And also, if you want more kind of dynamic thing, you can basically create the instance type. Say for an example, instance type and let's give a variable name. The type is type type equals to string. Okay, and now uh, I need basically, let me put it here as list. Okay, and control E. What I'm going to do here is, okay, and I'm going to put here two values. Okay, or I can put multiple values, like I'm going to basically put here list of, say for an example, mm, t2 dot micro, and then you need, for an example, t3 micro. There would be also something called as c1. Let's just put c1 dot micro, just for an example. And now here you can dynamically call that. How are you going to call that? Where dot, and our this is instance type, and then you're going to basically put count dot index. So when this gets executed, the first ist would be created with t2 micro, the third would be the uat would be created with t3 micro, then c1 micro, and so on. So that's what you have made it as a dynamic with the help of meta argument count. And you do not need to write this. Say you have created a module, you just save it under the module, and anyone who has access to your GitHub repository within the firm can call that module. So that's how the count helps us to basically avoid writing the same code or the same configuration of the instance to be created again and again, and it simplifies our job. I hope this video was helpful and you got an idea of how to use the meta argument count. If you think this video has added the value to your skill, do not forget it to subscribe and hit the like button. And at the end of the day, do not forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload my next video on dynamic block slash for each. Until then, take care. Bye.